The 2026 NFL draft is almost here, but truthfully, between you and I, man, on the horizon, the 2027 draft class seems to be loaded with talent. So today, we're doing a full-blown exercise. How does the 2027 class compare to the previous 3 years, including 2026? Let's do this. Here is our super fancy, our graphics team worked really hard on this one. Simply, I got the classes down below here. This is 2027, this one is 24, 25, and 26. I'm going to rank each position, and then after I do that, I'm going to rank the classes overall from what we can see today with our own two eyes. We can't see into the future, we can try to, and that's the point of today's exercise. How good will this class be, and where does its strengths lie? Let's stop yapping and get into the running back position. Starting off, let's first weigh the classes. We'll go through 2026 and back, and then place 2027 in between those three classes as well. Let's look at the RB position. It is no secret that in 2025, the running back class was stacked. Ashton Jeanty, a high-end prospect, followed by guys like Omarion Hampton and Quinshon Judkins. You can't forget Travion Henderson. That was a really strong first four in a class. You could even argue Quinshon and Travion, if the class was lighter in other areas, would have been first-round picks. So the top-end talent is definitely there, and man, throughout the rest of the class, look at all these picks in the fourth round. That's ridiculous. Is that 6 fourth-round picks? And these guys produced. Cam Skadaboo had a crazy good year. Dylan Sampson got some reps. And then as we know, down here, we got Rashard Smith, who got a bunch of reps this year in the 7th round, and Kyle Monangai in the 7th round. This class kicked ass. I don't know how it gets much better than this. You got great top-end talent and great depth. I'm going to rank, and of course, I'll rank from left to right, left being the strongest, right being the weakest. I'm going to throw 2025, which was last year. Yes, correct. 2025 leading this group. And then now I'm going to decide how I want to do it between here and 2024. Then we'll jump to 2027. Let's just go year by year. Let's make it simple. Last one we're going to look at is going to be 2024. For 2024, it had a lot of strengths. This is one of the most premier draft classes we've seen in a while offensively. I think like the first 14 picks of this class were all offensive players. It was ridiculous. With that being said, running backs was not one of its strengths. It didn't have an elite prospect. I think Jonathan Brooks had a ton of upside. He's just dealt with injuries. It's not his fault. I'm not going to pin that against him. But throughout the rest of this class, besides Bucky Irving in the 4th round, it really has not hit. There's even a chance that Trey Benson, who may get a shot this year to do his thing, if the Cardinals take Love 3rd overall, as in Jeremiah Love, this just goes right down the toilet. So a couple of sleepers that we had right here. We had Tyrone Tracy, the 5th round, going to the Giants. He's had a solid career so far. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, Bucky Irving has broken out. So aside from these two carrying the class, I don't feel that strongly about it. I actually think it's an extremely weak class when looking back at it. So I'm going to throw them in the back here. And then for 2026, where this compares, which is this year's class, if you do not know, we have an elite prospect. Jeremiah Love is no joke. We know that. But the depth is pretty questionable. You probably aren't going to get a round 2. It's very questionable if we get a round 2 running back. I bet we'll see 2 round 3s, a couple round 4s, and then the rest will be scattered throughout the rest of the draft. So it's definitely going to be the weakest of these 3. Now, where do we rank 2027 between these classes and these prospects? This is, if you haven't seen our podcast, go check it out in the description below. 1st and 10, do some awesome stuff with Josh and, of course, Brandon Ross, a previous NFL player. We'd love to have you guys on here. This is our website. We have an NFL mock draft simulator, our NFL teams, free agency tracker, even some games with card packs. But we also have big boards for 2027 and 2028. Enough of the advertisement, but that's what we're going on here. If you're curious what we're looking at right now, this is what we're running. This is the running back class of 2027. First up, we got Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri. I just checked out a lot of these guys' tape to get a feel for how good they are and what kind of impact they can make in the NFL. Hardy's whole game, man, he's so explosive. He's so shifty. I mean, I haven't seen a running back move like this in space in a long time. It reminds me, I'm not going to give the comp, everybody calm down. It reminds me of the way Jahmyr Gibbs can get in and out of just those breaks, man. He is so explosive and so shifty. So Hardy, ton of fun. Haven't seen Frazier's film yet. I've seen him I've watched him on TV, of course, but I haven't actually dove into it, seen some good things. I think Jaden Baugh, who's also a Florida running back, not included on here. He's a big body man, 6'2", 230. He moves extremely well. Mark Fletcher, LJ Martin, Justin Haynes, who almost came out in this year's class, but looks like he went to Georgia Tech. Very interesting. And then, a couple of the prospects here as well. Hollywood Smothers will be a solid depth play. And then I also liked Quintrivion Wisner a bunch too. This is the class. Overall, I don't see a Jeremiah Love in this class. You know, like they don't come every year. These are special prospects. I don't see a Love. I don't see a Nash and Genty, but these guys can emerge. Like, we're ahead of the game right now, but let's see if that happens. But as of today, I'm going to be a little bit reserved, and I'll throw for the 2027 class. I'll put it, I'm definitely going to put it ahead of, sorry, I think I ranked this wrong. I'm definitely going to put it ahead of the 2024 class. That was pretty rough, but I'm going to put it behind 2026 and, of course, behind 2025. 2027 is going third here for running back. Now let's go to tight end, this position. For the tight end position, this one's very interesting. I feel like there's some bias here from recency bias in last year's draft class. And let's just dive straight into it, man. These are the prospects we're talking about here. These are the tight ends. In the 2025 draft class, honestly, it was pretty ridiculous. Colson Loveland went 10th overall, followed by Tyler Warren at 14. And they got guys in the second round. Look at all this draft capital, man. All these guys in the second. We got Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, and then Harold Fannin in the third, who had a big-time year. And then Arondre Gadsden. I think I said that right. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? But with that being said, man, this tight end class last year, pretty ridiculous. I've heard some shade thrown at this class, and I don't know why. They've been insanely productive, and most tight ends take a couple years to get productivity out of. And since 5 of these guys are already hitting as rookies, I'm going to throw 2025 as the leader of this class. Now, to follow them, this is where it's up to opinion. I'd like to go back to 2024 real quick, which could be right below them, not too far. For 2024, Brock Bowers. How can you forget? 13th overall, goes to the Raiders, lights it up, man. Probably one of the best tight ends in the league right now, essentially already as a rookie, sophomore season, and now going into his third year. Following that, though, A.J. Barner has turned out nicely. I think Kate Stover's got talent. Clearly, all these guys have talent. They're in the NFL. Theo Johnson had a ton of upside. We haven't seen a lot of this class come to fruition aside from Brock Bowers. So I can't rank it that high, but man, Brock's so good. I'm definitely going to throw him behind. I'll put him right here for right now. Let's jump to 2026, and then we'll come to 2027. For the 2026 tight end class, this is how it's faring. I guarantee you've heard of Kenyon Sadiq, unless you live under a rock. He lit up the combine, had a phenomenal day. Dude ran a 4.39 as a tight end. He's kind of a hybrid, of course, but absolutely insane. And then aside from that, let me jump back to the tight ends real quick. Eli Stowers also had a great combine. Max Clare, Michael Trigg, Justin Jolly, Oscar Delp, and the list goes on. Truly, I think there's a lot of solid depth pieces in here, but I'm not going to consider Kenyon Sadiq the same kind of prospect Brock Bowers was, Tyler Warren, or I'd even say Colston Loveland. Those guys are just on a different level, thus they got taken in nearly top 10 draft capital. With all that being said, where will I rank 2026? I will throw them. Would I throw them ahead of 2024? Let's take a look real quick. This is 2024 right here. Yeah. I'm throwing them ahead of 2024 person. I'll go ahead of 2024. Obviously, Brock Bowers is ridiculous. I understand that, but aside from him, not a lot of pieces in this class. I'm going to be optimistic about 2026. I think we got some solid pieces in this class. Now, for 2027, what are we looking at for the tight end position? For the 2027 tight end class, this one's kind of shaky at the moment, and most of them are a year ahead. It's hard to see to the future. Wide receivers produce early, running backs produce early, even quarterbacks more than tight ends. Tight ends tend to be late bloomers in the process, so we're just looking in here taking shots. Jamari Johnson, heard some good things. Terrence Carter as well. I've also heard big things about Tre'Davious Green. Good friend named Brandon from NFL Draft Big Boards says he's his current top tight end prospect as of today. So Those are the tight ends. Truly, it's just a giant question mark, so I'm going to place this right now at the very back of these 4 classes. Moving on to our favorite. I love the wide receivers. I hope you do too. Wide receiver position. Let's review how this has gone down in the past couple years. Let's start in 2025 and 2024, then talk about this class in 2027. 2025, honestly, a roller coaster. Like, what the hell is Travis Hunter? We don't know. I don't think the team knows quite yet. He's probably going to be a cornerback, but still very exciting. Tedero McMillan, big-time rookie year. He has balled out and solidified himself as a top wide receiver within the NFL. I don't mean like top 5, but you know what I mean, a true wide receiver 1. Mika Egbuka showed a lot of flashes early in year 1. Matthew Golden showed no flashes. Kidding. But he showed something in the playoffs, but for the most part, he didn't really do much at all. Luther doing his thing. And then aside from that, in the class of 2025, we don't see a lot of depth. I thought there would be more depth there. Chimere Dike had a great year. Got to call that out. I think he was an all-pro for special teams. But aside from that, fellas, it's okay. It's okay. I give it like a solid 3 or a 4. We definitely had a good amount of first-round talent, right? Four wide receivers in the first is pretty solid numbers, if not a little bit above average, and then a decent amount of second-rounders as well. So I'll throw them right. I got to throw them just out here to begin with, so I'll throw them here and probably just accordingly. But as we know, when we go to the class of 2024, my God, brother, this is just ludicrous. We had, I can't count, 7 first-round wide receivers, 3 going in the top 10. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Romo Dunze, and then following them, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Ricky Pearsall, and then Xavier Legette. While a lot of these guys have not turned out like we thought as of today, they still have time to grow. They're only sophomores in their NFL seasons, man. This has been a ridiculous amount of great prospects in one class. Even the depth. If we're counting from 4th round up, look at all of these wide receivers I have highlighted. That is an insane amount of players. You know, some guys like Troy Franklin who have made a name for themselves. Hopefully Donnie Mitchell becomes something on the Jets. This class had a ton of talent coming out, and I know in hindsight they haven't all produced instantly. We've had some like drop-offs that we wouldn't expect, but overall, if we're just going to play this as the prospect game, I think this class was loaded with talent. So I'm going to go back here. 2024 is going to go ahead of 2025, I'd say without a doubt. Now for 2026, how does this class fare in the wide receiver department? I would tell you personally, we're cooking with gas this year. I think Carnell Tate is one hell of a prospect. He has looked phenomenal all season long. He's your kind of boundary wide receiver, can be your X in that system. And they're all different flavors from now on. Mekhi Lemon, true slot guy. I'm sure you've seen his film before. Jordan Tyson, I think, is the perfect blend of every wide receiver you've ever seen before. As in, he's 6'2". He's kind of got a slender build, but man, he's a smooth assassin. In and out of breaks with ease. Hard to cover. Couldn't even cover him in a phone booth if you needed to. Love his game. Aside from these big 3, and they're a strong big 3. They're not the big 3 of 2024. Let's be honest here. It's not Rome. It's not Malik. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. But it's a pretty damn strong big 3. This is one of the upper echelons we've seen in wide receiver classes. Now, aside from this, I think Denzel through Omar Cooper are solid prospects. But after that, we have a lot of talent here. Jeremy Bernard's probably going to be a solid wide receiver 3 in the NFL. But aside from that, I think it's a lot of dart throws. It's a lot of we don't knows. Guys with injuries, guys who are complete profiles. So overall, I'd probably throw this class at like a solid 3 out of 5. And with that being said, I'm going to rank them. I'm not going to go ahead of 2024. I can tell you that right now. But I will go ahead of 2025 or 2025, I believe. Let me look one more time. For 2025, yeah, I'm going to go ahead at 2025. I think the big 3 you see, like Matthew Golden, Mika Egbuka, Tedero McMillan, and Travis Hunter. Those 4 are simply not as good as these 4. That's all I'll say. Or even these 5. I think this class is stronger, without a doubt, so I'm going to throw them ahead right here and put them right here. Now for 2027, this could be one of the biggest strengths of this class. If you're not familiar with the 2027's class, hello, Jeremiah Smith, Heard of him? Hope you have. This guy has been rocking defenses since he showed up as a true freshman at Ohio State, brought them on a national championship run, and going into his junior season, he's going to do some more damage. Following him up, we got Cam Coleman, who's going to Texas, was previously at Auburn. He has got all the tools and playing at a high level as well. Keep an eye out for him. Ryan Williams had a great freshman year. Sophomore year was just so-so. I don't know. He's a young kid. It's okay. He'll figure it out, but he's got a ton of talent as well. Mario Craver. All I'm saying, he seems like the guy that's going to have... He's actually a hell of a player. He's going to have a hell of a year. He's going to light up the combine. He will be somebody that will be driven into the first round. I'm just going to call that right now, right here. A&M's going to be good again next year, and he's going to be a big-time asset on that team. Aside from that, we don't know how the depth's going to shake out. Guys got to perform. We can't see quite into the future. I would say one more guy we got to mention here who's not on this list, and we'll get that fixed on this website. Nick Marsh, Michigan State Spartan, who left tier and went to Indiana. I understand, my man. Nick Marsh is a similar build to Cam Coleman with less shine on his career. He's special. He can be a first-round wide receiver. I think this class has the potential of the top echelon talent to be nearly as good, if not as good, as the 2024 class. So I'm not going to put that stamp down yet, but as of today, I will rightfully have them hold that spot right behind the 2024 class. They are loaded with talent there. Let's go to quarterback. Quarterback's fun, man. Fun as hell. Let's look at these QBs, the 2025 class, 2024, then projecting to 2026 and 2027. 2025, we're just being honest here. It was meh. It was okay. Cam Ward, I think he's a better prospect than most realize. He just had a unique journey. When people have unique journeys, they don't know how to judge it. Transfer portal has changed a lot, and he was the first, I'd say, product of the transfer portal where it really worked out. So Cam Ward, first overall, solid. Jackson Dart, at the time as a prospect, a lot of questions. Same for Tyler Shuck right here. But these three have turned out to be more strong than we realize in their rookie years. Dart had a good year. Shuck showed some good things at the end of the year. Cam Ward was just on a horrible team. I mean, horrible team. Sorry, Titans fans. It'll get better from here. I like your hires and coaching staff. So overall, I give it like a 2, maybe like a 3 out of 5. They're not going to lead the pack, but they definitely aren't the worst thing we've ever seen. 2025, throw them right here. For 2024, we know what this is about, man. This 2024 class was ridiculous. These guys are all in the first round. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. 12 quarterbacks off the board, and I haven't even gotten my pluckers wings to my table yet. That just says the kind of talent in this class. Aside from that, that's a crazy. The drop-off was a first-rounder, and the next quarterback picked was a fifth-rounder. That just shows how many seats there are in the NFL, and if you don't interview well, we saw Shoutout last year, it falls very quickly. So that's ridiculous. I'm going to have to throw them at the front, as we know for right now. Maybe this changes here in a second, but that class was just ridiculous. Ton of fun, especially for like any casual fan. It's a fun night for the quarterbacks. Now, for quarterbacks in the year of 2026, it's kind of cheeks, okay? I'm going to call it what it is. Fernando, dope prospect. Ty Simpson showed some flashes, can be something. But aside from that, we got guys like Garrett Nussmeier, who if they declared last year, maybe they go in the first round, but he got injured, had a rough year at LSU, just wasn't able to pull together a good season. Drew Lar has just he's got so much talent, has just never shown what he's fully capable of. Carson Beck is Carson Beck. Cole Payton, fun prospect. Taylon Green, super fun prospect, but his film has just got a lot of questions. Kate Klubnik also fell off this year when it comes to what he could have been if he left when he went into last year's draft class over if he left for this year's draft class. So, a lot of talking there. All that being said, I think this class in 2026 is going to have to go behind all three. This class from last year in 2025 was stronger, so was definitely 2024, which brings us to the question of what about 2027? Now, for quarterbacks, I want to mention this is so hard to predict. They are so back and forth. You can be on top of the world as a quarterback prospect in week 6, and then in week 7, you're a 7th rounder overnight. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how the media takes it. So, for what I'm about to say, take it with a grain of salt. With all that being said, this class is epic, gentlemen. Arch Manning, Dante Moore, who should have came out in this year's class, Julian Sayin, Drew Mestamaker, Darian Monsa, who transferred to Miami initially from Duke, Levitt, Mayava, Sellers with a ton of upside. Brendan Sorsby can be a flyer in the first round next year. He's got a ton of talent. Even Josh Hoover, Jean Mateer, who's lighting it up in the first 3 weeks of the season. DJ Lagway, future tight end. Nico Imaliava, I think he's going to be solid this year. He's got a lot of hate for his career, man. He's kind of got a brand tarnish to him, but when you're 6'6", 215, and you move like that, with an arm like that, it's going to work out. With all that being said, this class is lining up to be, I'm going to say it right here, to be the most talented QB class we've seen in the past 4 years. Now, like I mentioned, these teams have to win, because if they don't win, these quarterbacks don't go high. You know how it works now, how it works for me and you and the whole league. People judge harshly their quarterbacks, but the potential is there. And if we have some prospects that hit with a ton of upside, like Sellers, you throw Sellers in the mix in the first round, oh, brother, it's going to be fun. Sorsby, he's got a real path to be that, like I mentioned before. Overall, this is going to be a fun year, especially for quarterbacks. I'm throwing them. Can I throw it above 2024? I'm going to do it. Ride the lightning, baby. This class has got so much potential to be it. And the reason I'm going to rank them first overall out of these 4 classes, team success is tied to the quarterback success. I think Texas is going to have a great year. I'd say the same about Oregon, and I'd say the same about Ohio State. If these 3 roll out next year and they all have badass years, it's going to be a fun quarterback class and arguably even better than 2024. Folks, now it's time to rank them overall. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, and quarterback. But how do these finally play out? Who comes in first? Who comes in last? Let's just look at the colors right here. Let's not overcomplicate this. When it comes to the color game, I would say, let's look at 2024. Where are they at? They are right here, right here, right here, right here. So for running backs, lacking. Tight ends, lacking. Wide receiver, very strong. Quarterback, very strong. Throw them right here for right now, and I'll adjust accordingly. For the 2025 class, the tight ends, really good. Running backs, really strong. Wide receiver, hindsight, not that great. And then, of course, quarterback, it was okay. With that analysis, I'm going to put 2025 slightly behind that 2024 class. It's closer than most people think, man. If you're a more casual fan, you think that the 2024 class is miles above this 2025 class. But you look at the running backs that came from this 2025 class and the tight ends, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's closer than you think, but they are right neck and neck. Now for 2026, keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. You can see the yellow. Second, third, fourth. It's good going last so far. It's got talent. These are NFL caliber players. These guys can ball. But compared to 2025 and 2024, who had a good amount of talent for different positions, I'm going to put them in last. But for the 2027 class, where do we rank them? Higher than 2026, I can tell you that. Higher than 25? That's hard. That's hard. I don't think the running back talent will be there, like you can see right here below in the running back column, obviously. But the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, they got the ability to be right there. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the 24 class will be better than the 27 class. But man, if these quarterbacks like we have here, if these quarterbacks start hitting, if these wide receivers have some emerge, and some of these running backs step up, and we see these tight ends come up too, this class can easily be the best of the past 4 years. So folks, this is the final list. Class order rank would go 24, 27, 25, and then 26. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This is an open discussion. I want to hear what you think. And if you want more Dynasty content, I just made a video on what traits to look for in rookie prospects so you can identify those breakouts before your league mates. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you more than you know. Have the best day. Love y'all. Peace.